Good morning, everybody. We Paddy from across the shock, and I'm doing a video response for Professor EDC, who I think it's a brilliant title for a video because it leaves it open to each of us to do a different offering. And what mine is, it's the video. The tag is "What knife defines you?" And I'm going to tell you straight away, it's this knife here. This knife in the middle, the Benchmade 940, and I'm going to come to that last. But I'm going to split this in two. I'm going to split it to the knife that defines me as a knife collector. And I'm also going to do it on a personal level because I watched a couple of videos, and I'll put links down below to Blade Banter's video and Big Bore Knife and Gear. They were brilliant videos along with Professor EDC. So they're all a little bit different, and mine's going to be a little bit different. So I just wanted to go through my life as a collector. I started out with very little money at the time. I wasn't in a well-paid job. I have a big family as well. So I didn't have a lot of money at the time, and I started buying things like Ganzos. They were my staple to my channel. This is one of the first knives I bought from Ganzo. And today, I still would recommend this for anybody who's starting out or has got a son or a daughter who wants to start out in the knife collecting game and they want to get good tools. Because in the beginning, that's what we used knives for as tools. Now, I have them for decoration. Because I have so many knives now, I can never get to use them all. So I can't actually call them a tool. A tool is something you use. And when I bought these, I was using them, sharpening them, doing all sorts of things. I've sharpened one of these on rocks, on bricks, on concrete, everything. I've sharpened these and everything just to see how I get them. They're 440C steel, and it's great. It's absolutely great. This knife will do anybody a day's work. Basic, that's it. It will do anybody a day's work. So it was a great knife to have in my collection. It's an homage to a Spyderco Delica. I know that, but a Delica hasn't got a forward choil, so it's not a Delica, but it's a homage, and that's fair play. We can do that, and I'm quite happy doing that. I got so much stick in the beginning for picking these Chinese knives, and I don't care. Look at the Chinese knives now that people are buying wholesale. So, was I first? No, I wasn't first. There's nothing first in this knife game. Like blade shapes like it, there's nothing first. It's all been done before. It's just reinvented. So, I love my cheaper models. I still look for them today. In fact, I think my last video was about a farm shop and knives I got for $5, $10. I still like buying that sort of knife because that's part of me. I like to get a little bargain, and I like to share it with other people who maybe don't have a whole lot of money for Chris Reeves and Benchmade, and I enjoy that part of the knife collecting as well. So I'm going to put that over there. Now this one is a very important one. This one gave me a taste of the high life. I loved the Benchmade 940. Once I started watching videos, it was the knife that just meant it. I thought whenever I got a 940, that would be my life complete. I would end looking for knives. It was my grail knife. It wasn't the most expensive knife, but it looked, and when I seen it in use by people on YouTube, it just looked like a perfect knife. This is what I could afford, which is a Gando copy of it. Just an amazing knife with an action. Is it as good as the Benchmade 940? No. Is the knife itself as well made? I've only just bought this about 2 weeks ago, so I still buy Ganzos. The centering is so badly off on this one, which is unusual for Ganzo, I have to say. It is unusual, but that's the truth. You buy them, and this is just an amazing knife. And I had give mine away in a giveaway quite a while ago, my original one, which was in carbon fibre. And I just wanted to buy another one to have in my collection because it meant so much to me. I loved this knife. I probably loved this knife as much as I loved that because it's what I could afford at the time. It is a perfectly serviceable knife in 440C, which all Ganzos were made in. And at 440C is an incredible steel. For the price that you're getting it at, that first knife is about £10. This is about, I got this for £17, I think. a couple of weeks ago on AliExpress. It's a marvellous knife. And if you want a work knife, it's great. Absolutely super. Absolutely super. So I still stand by how I started. And as time goes on, I started to do other things that seem to upset an awful lot of people. And I still to this day don't know why. But I'm not even going to go into the politics of it. This is the Benchmade 943. This is not. This is a copy, clone, rip-off, complete and utter exact copy of it that I bought for £17 on AliExpress. Why did I buy it, Stephen? Because I could, because it's for sale and I wanted to buy it. And I suppose that says a lot about me as a person. I don't mind being controversial. I don't mind doing things that are outside what is considered the normal box. I bought this for the channel so I can compare it when I'm doing comparisons. I haven't even used it yet. I've had it for, how long have I had this? Months and months, and it's lay there because I'll find a comparison that I want to do with the 940. I actually have one coming up that I want to talk about it, but that's in the future. But I don't mind buying the clones from AliExpress, not to pass them off, not to probably never use this much even, just to have as a showpiece on my channel, that I can show what another knife looks like and why I like this model over this model. But there we go. It shows people options. And for those who can afford the real thing and it doesn't bother them, please go ahead and buy it. Because I would. If I could afford to buy every knife that I had in my collection in the true model, I'd be well off. But I haven't. So sometimes, and I still do, just to see what the quality is like. The quality of this is stunning. It's not as good as the 940, but it's still stunning quality. This is in G10. Or plastic, whichever way you want to do it. It is a complete rip-off, but it's a great channel knife because I can use it for comparisons of blade shapes and blade styles from an older knife. There we go. Put that over there, out of the way. Rough Rider. I also liked traditional knives. I recently, let's say recently, it's a couple of years ago now, but I started to get into traditional knives, slip joint knives. I live in the UK. It made sense that I would go along that route. Then you find things like Rough Riders. Look at that for a knife. Look at that for a knife. Now, it's a bit dear over here. This was about £30, just a 30, say to £32 or something over here in the UK. I think it was $15 in America. But I'm quite happy to pay that money for this knife. Lined bolsters. It is the most beautiful blade. Beautifully done with a swedge on it. Absolutely stunning. Is it centered? As good as I'll ever need it to be. But a beautiful knife in 440A. Again, a steel that will get me through most things that I do on a daily basis. It's not the best steel in the world, but I'm not paying the price for the best steel in the world. I'm paying for a knife that works. This is a work knife. It's the Rough Rider called the work knife. So it is a perfectly good, and it's fairly thin behind the edge, so it can cut up whatever I want. Cardboard, Pete, cardboard. I can cut whatever I want with it and it'll last me a day. It's a cracking knife. I've done 440A tests on my channel. Go back and you'll see the tests. 440A holds up absolutely fine for an everyday use knife. Not a survive in the bush knife, just an everyday knife. But look at the quality you can get from Rough Rider. So let's bring us up to the more present and the knives that I collect now. Not the knives that I have for the channel. This is the knives that I'm sort of collecting. GEC. That's where I've moved on to now. Where I've got a wee bit of extra money now, I can afford to buy better knives. A more high quality knife, a knife that just appeals to me in aesthetics, in use, in the materials they use. This is a proper traditional knife, but it's using G10. Do you know what I mean? Or micarta. They're using stuff that is more modern. I love the bone and I have plenty of the bone, but I just wanted to see you can get the modern knives in modern materials that are a traditional shape and pattern. And that's what I love about GEC, which I believe is probably the best company in the world at the minute making traditional knives. In fact, not probably, I think it is the best company in the world. Yes, you've got other single manufacturers that make one knife at a time and they make it personalized for you. But this is produced for the public, and it's just unbeatable for quality standard. Snap, walk and talk, blade centering, everything about this knife. The gappage, there is no gappage on most GECs. You might get the odd one with a little bit, but they're very few and far between, I can tell you. And this is beautiful. And this is just a basic boy's knife, but it's about 100 quid plus over here. And it's a beautiful pocket knife. I love carrying them, and it makes me feel good. And that's why I'm in this knife game. Not necessarily to make you feel good, but I buy stuff that makes me feel good and that I get some sort of a buzz. So I've gone up in the world now. I've got Chris Reeves, which I just think is one of the best manufacturers in the world for knives. Very simple. This is a user. This isn't something that I put in a box and I don't. This is used. I love this knife. I waited so long to get it. 3.5 years I'd been in the knife video making before I got this, and it was worth every second of the wait. Is it spectacular? No. Is it the best flipper in the world? No. Is it the best blade steel in the world? No. But it is, in my opinion now, one of the best made knives that I can rely on at any time, anywhere, over most other knives that I have. This is just the most reliable knife that I believe, one of the most that I've got. Now, I've got a Medford that I believe is every bit as good, but I still don't think it's as good as this, although it's dearer. I think this is just a basic. It's got S35 VN, which is easy to sharpen. Absolutely beautiful knife, and I love having it. But I love using it more than I do even having it. It's not a collector's piece. But let's get to the knife that defines me. And the nice thing about this knife is it's had another life. This was a gift from Jeff Jewell. I done a video where I danced in my front room when he sent me this knife because I couldn't afford one at the time by a long way. But he sent this to me, and I don't think there's been no knife since that has given me so much pleasure, and still does. I believe the 940 is one of the best work knives that has ever been made, in my opinion, for all sorts of factors. And yeah, I've had a spring go on this. I've had a spring go, two springs go on my Benchmade bug out, but I still think it's a brilliant knife. I'm not in a survival situation. I'm just an old lad in his house who cuts things up. I can wait to get a new spring. But this has had two lives. It's had Jeff's life and all that it went through with Jeff, who's a worker, and he used it for working, and he put a bit of a choil in it. I've never tried to change it or tidy it up. I just loved it the way it was. I still do. I still use it, and I still would recommend this to anybody. Whether you've got a channel or you just want a blooming good knife, this is stunning. Fidget factor, the whole lot. But it's second-hand to me, and I'm a bit of a second-hand fella. Not only in my knife collection, but I love to go to car boot sales. I love to go to auctions. So this knife says a lot about me, but it's more special because it was given to me by somebody. It was given me by somebody who I've never met in person, who sent this across the world to me, and I can never repay things like that because that was... I can't explain to you the excitement I had. But to get back to the two lives, I've had two lives. I've had a rough life and I've had a not so rough life. And in between that, I get some excellent life and an amazing time. And I've shared experiences with someone I love and I'm married to now. But I'm a recovering alcoholic, as I've said before. I'm 31 years sober, just passed there in June, 31 years sober, which I'm very proud of. I'm not proud of the fact that I became an alcoholic and I destroyed people's lives. And that's the point in life. We all make mistakes. I made a huge one. And I've been able to recover from it by the grace of God. I've been able to recover from it and start a new life. I've had a son commit suicide, something I hope nobody ever has to go through in their life. It did nearly destroy me. 2 occasions. Twice it has nearly destroyed me. I suffer from depression, and pretty deep depression when I go into them, as you all know on my channel. So I'm not going to labour the point. But the thing is, I'm coming out the other side of it now. And you know, my knives are still with me. My love for knives is still with me after it all. They have been like my little saviour, you know. Apart from the big man upstairs, they've been my little saviour. They give me something to stick to, like making videos. Like I've not been great to my subs over this last 6 months. I've had a real downtime, and I'm coming out of it the other side, and I'm starting to feel really much better. I'm going to start making more and more videos. I'm getting back into it again, but they've always been there because I've still footered with them, I've still played with them, and I've still sharpened them. So this knife is secondhand. I'm secondhand. I'm used. I'm used. I'm used and abused. And so is this knife, and it can take it. And it's just a piece of metal, so if it can take it, so can I. So never give up hope. You can have bad times in your lives, and this Benchmade has just showed it's been broken, it's been fixed, it's second hand, it's been handed down. But it's still going. It's still a good work knife, and so am I. Do you know what I mean? So this knife defines me. It says everything about me and my life, that you don't have to be the most up-to-date thing. You don't have to be the best in the world. You just have to be able to get up when you've been knocked down, get up, move on. And if you have to go to a different owner, go to a different owner. Do you know what I mean? I'm on my second marriage. My wife got me second hand. So there you go. That's Paddy in a nutshell. And that 940 is the most special knife I'll ever have in my collection. It was my grail knife, and it has been my grail knife all along. I won't even call my new grail knives my grail knife when I've got this in their company, because this is it. This is me reborn. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry if I haven't answered enough. I've tried this last couple of videos to start answering people back again. I will get better at it in the next few months, and hopefully we'll get back to a bit of crack again. Putting a smile back in that knife face, because I'm very, very lucky. I have yous as well as a loving family. So never get too far down. Share your thoughts with somebody else if you do. I didn't for a long time, but I'm getting better at it. All the very best. Paddy's Way. Professor EDC, thank you so much for sending me a wee text and asked me to join in your tag. I feel really privileged to be in with the boys who have already done it, and I look forward to the future ones. Paddy's gone. An old mug of tea sitting waiting here for the old fella. Take care. Bye-bye now. All the best.